Hi guys, your girl is back. Get in here, get in here, get in here. So, as promised, I wanted to get back in here and give you guys a quick update while we had a break pertaining to what has happened this morning since Dawn has taken the stand. There are a few vital things that she has said on the stand this morning that really lines up not only Diddy's behavior, how he has interacted with other people, and even his demeanor. So I'm going to read a couple of the keynotes that I've taken away. And of course, you guys know later on tonight at 6 p.m., I will go into further detail of this where you can really tap in and ask those questions. So after the jurors entered the courtroom, uh, the prosecutors picked back up and they asked Dawn what she interpreted by Diddy saying people could go missing. And Dawn said ultimately that people would be unalived. Um, the prosecutors even asked um, how all of this started. And she said basically with Danity Kane as well as Diddy Dirty Money. And they asked her during this time, what did you observe? Dawn said he would drag her and kick her and punch her in the mouth. The prosecutors asked Dawn what prompted these acts of violence. And Dawn responded when she would speak up for herself. And the prosecutors asked Dawn if anybody else witnessed this. Dawn said D Rock and Roger Bonds were present when this abuse occurred. They go on to talk about an incident that happened when they were in a festival for New York in Central Park. The prosecutors asked what happened at that residence. Dawn says that Cassie came in the bathroom crying and you could visibly see that she was hurt. The defense was just like, objection, how? And they told her to keep going. Dawn said that Cassie's eye was swollen. You could visibly see it. Um, and they asked Dawn what happened after the incident. Dawn said that she remained with Cassie ultimately to support her, to let her know that she really wasn't alone in this incident. And they show her a photograph and they said, well, what is this? And it was a photo of Cassie and both Dawn wearing sunglasses. And they asked her, why did you do this? And she said solidarity. So then there's also another part where the prosecutor then moves to ask Dawn regarding the next assault. They asked her who was present during this. She says D Rock, Capricorn Clark, and Harv Pierre. The prosecutor then asked uh, who was Mr. Pierre. And she said at Bad Boy, he answered to Diddy. And the prosecutor said, did they do anything? And Dawn said, none of us did anything. Then there's another incident that Dawn said occurred when they drove back to LA. He slapped Cassie in the mouth and told her to shut the F up. The prosecutor said, how did the passengers respond? Dawn said that everyone stayed completely silent for the rest of the ride. Um, she said, I asked myself if he did that to someone he supposedly loved, what would he do to an employee? The prosecutor said, uh, did you try to intervene in their relationship? And Don said, no, for my own safety. I didn't do anything. Then here's another part that popped up that I was just like, whoa. The prosecutors went in and they asked about Diddy's usage of drugs. Dawn said that she saw him partake in weed, ketamine, Molly, and cocaine. They asked if they saw any opiates or anything of that nature. She said she never saw. Uh, the gentleman that supposedly brought these items, his name was One Stop. That's how he's been identified. She said that he had everything, including Plan Bs and birth control. Prosecutors then move and they asked Dawn if she ever saw Diddy walking around with pume cumes. And she stated yes, he had one at his lower back, um, pretty much a lot of the times. And then they asked her if she ever saw anybody else with Pum Pums, and she said, yes, security, D Rock and Roger Bonds. They continue to go on, and she talks about how she had to learn to talk to Diddy in a soft approach to make sure not to set off any triggers that would make him react in a violent manner. She also stated that when she was doing well musically, that is when she would get like a FaceTime phone call from Diddy. So now within this line of questioning, it's been established that he has a pattern of violence, and also that multiple different people stood around and witnessed the violence take place on Cassie and did not do anything. So now we're starting to see parts of this Rico case unfold. We will see more after David James takes the stand later on today. And oh, I forgot to mention, Cassie's mother will be testifying. So make sure you like, comment, and share this video. And if you want to support me, please make sure you cash at me or go to ancientbrand.com and buy something and tell them Yaya sent you. So I'll see you guys in the next video.